Okay, folks, I wanted to give you some tips before tomorrow night. So try to watch this video before tomorrow night to prepare you for or to start to get you into the mindset of creating your own cueing and flows. There's some basic skills and basic stuff that I think would be helpful. So first of all, I'll make sure this is actually recording. Okay. First of all, inhales and exhales, the nature of the movement. An inhale is always an opening, like lifting the arms opening or lifting the arms out, expanding. Same thing with the legs. It's an opening, it's a lifting the arms up to the sky. Okay, anything like that where you're expanding, reaching, extending, opening, generally speaking, that's on an inhale. There are exceptions to these, but this will help you kind of think, what's the next move? If I'm opening, lifting, coming up, expanding, think probably that's an inhale. Exhale is the other way. So if you're folding, if you're going downward, if you're scrunching in, if you're twisting, things like that, generally speaking, that's going to be an exhale. So inhale opening, exhale closing, inhale expanding, exhale contracting or twisting. Generally the case, not always, but if you get stuck, you can think about that. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing has to do with when you're cueing the thing after the inhale. So the pattern is breath, bandhas, start again. Breath, body, and gaze. So first you're going to cue an inhale or an exhale. And again, once you're cueing for a while and people are in the rhythm, maybe then you'll ease up. You won't say inhale every single time in a sun A, for example. But generally speaking, you're starting with the inhale or exhale, breath. Second is the body part. So you're going to move the body somewhere. I'll come back to that, but just think that breath, body, the next thing is the gaze. Where are the eyes looking? If you omit anything, that's probably the thing that tends to be omitted the most. It can be extremely important in some poses, so make sure you think about where it's most important and at least put it in there. Okay, so breath, body, gaze. Inhale, doing something, gaze somewhere, all right? So that's basically that pattern. Those are two basic principles to remember. All right, so when you're cueing a sun salutation, y'all were confused about certain parts of it, so I want to cover some of these things. Again, inhale, we're expanding, so inhaling, lifting the arms up, and gaze looking up to the sky. Exhale, folding down to the mat, so we started with the exhale, breath. Second thing is the body movement, folding down to the earth, anything that gets us down here. Okay, and then the gaze is looking down, all right? So again, I also want to mention that we're not holding you to the standard of doing all of this perfectly every single time or even all the time, or even most of the time. We're holding you to the standard of experiencing this for yourself, trying to bring yourself inward to see what it feels like in your body, and then expressing that outward in a verbal way, cueing it to other people the way you experience it, and also looking at that person and modifying and adjusting what you're saying to them. So it's an experiential way of learning this. I know for many of you like to read and study the manual. You can read and study the manual. I did it. It's not exciting, but it is a way to learn all this. The problem is it won't give you the access to being. It won't give you the experience of it for yourself. So that's why I'm recommending that. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to cover in this video is sort of the pattern of where to go, when to go from where to where. I'm just gonna kind of talk it through, just do a little teeny bit of it, so each time to make sure you get it. So the first thing you're doing is you're starting people in breath and bandhas. You're getting them centered, sacred space, whatever that is. Then you bring them into breath and bandhas. Okay, so very first thing, centering. Next thing, taking deep breaths in and out, eventually through the nose, and then bringing the belly in and squeezing the sit bone tight. That's the first thing you do. Second thing, you walk into 5 sun A's and 5 sun B's, and I'll say more about what those are in a second. I know you know, but I'll just cover them quickly. So 5 sun A's and 5 sun B's, and after each sun A, there's 5 breaths after each down dog. Okay, so you've done breath and bandhas, cue a sun A, inhale, lift the arms, look up, exhale, fold to the mat, gaze down. Inhale, lift halfway up, look up, exhale, plant the hands, then walk back to a low push-up. Inhale, lift the heart up, look up at the sky. Exhale, tuck the toes, press the hips back, gaze at the navel. Okay? Simple. And for some of you, for the pattern of what's happening in the sun A, once you get down here, some of you were confused about that yesterday. It's inhale halfway up, exhale, too many movements for one breath, but that's fine. You just say exhale, plant the hands, make your way back to a low push-up, inhale, lift up to an upward facing dog. So it'd be hard to say all those words and exhale, down dog, but fine. You're just kind of getting them there. Once you cue a sun A once, now they're in down dog, holding that 5 breaths, 5 ujjayi breaths. Okay, then from here, several of you wanted to know what you do now. So you bend the knees, look to the front. That's an inhale, bend the knees, look to the front. Exhale, make your way all the way forward. Inhale, halfway up. Look up. Exhale, full look down. Inhale, hands to the sky, look up. Exhale, you can either have hands by your side or to your heart center, Samastiti. Okay? So that's a sun A. You're doing that 5 times. So you do it once. I would cue the whole thing fully through a second time. And then the third time, maybe start ease it up, give people a chance to maybe play with it themselves or even be completely quiet. If they know what they're doing, just say, okay, go ahead and take a few rounds on your own. Breathe with them. And then when they get back, then after a couple of rounds, say, let's meet in a downward facing dog. So you've done ujjayi breath, you've done sacred space, ujjayi breath and bandhas, sun A, you've done 5 rounds. Next, 5 rounds of sun B. So for sun B, we're just adding in a hip movement. Starting in downward facing dogs, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, come all the way to the front. There are different ways to do this. The traditional way, halfway up, fold, bend the knees. Inhale, chair. Exhale, hands to heart center, and then back to chair. In flow class, we don't do all that stuff, but that's traditional. Then take a fold, come back to a vinyasa. Once you've taught this, you can say, take a vinyasa flow and come to a downward facing dog. Or you could cue the whole thing. Now, once you get back to down dog, the right foot comes forward immediately on the same exhale. Plant the back foot. Bring the hands up high, square the hips. This is warrior A. You can't actually say all of this in one breath. That's okay. Hands to the mat. Right leg back, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down dog. Step the left foot forward. Pivot and plant the back foot. Bring the hands up high again. Breath, body, gaze, same thing. Inhale, lift the hands up, square the hips. Gaze forward or up, depends on how you want to cue it. Exhale, hands to the mat. So that's a sun B. Then they do 5 breaths. Downward facing dog, 5 breaths. Always think 5 breaths. Hi, Charlie. The dog is going to join us. Bend the knees, come all the way to forward. All right, same thing, halfway up and lift. Come to a chair, and then all the way back. Again, bend the knees, and then you take another sun salutation. All the way back to a downward facing dog. Start again, right leg forward, lift up. You start to get into a rhythm. Exhale down, inhale back, downward facing dog. Step forward, all the way up. And then, here we go. And that's your vinyasa. So you do that 5 rounds. So maybe the first time, the second time, you are, Charlie's now going to eat my mat because he likes to do that to get attention. So the first round, second round, you're cueing. The next couple of rounds, you are, after that, the next couple of rounds, you kind of let them go. Okay, so now you've done sun A and then sun B. So now they're in a sun B in a downward facing dog. And then you stay there 5 breaths once again. Now we start the standing series. Bend the knees, look forward, come all the way up. Now they're at the front of the mat. Let's pretend this is the front of the mat. So here they are back in Samastitihi. The very first thing you do, move them into the first standing pose. Inhale, step the feet out hip width apart. Exhale, hands to your hips. Always exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, lift the heart up, look up. Exhale, fold back down, binding your peace fingers, second and third fingers to your big toes. So you stay there. Inhale, halfway up, lift. Exhale, fold back down, splay the elbows, 5 breaths. You're staying there, 5 breaths. Then inhale, lift halfway up. Now take the palms underneath, the wrist to the toes. Exhale, back down. Stay there, 5 breaths. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, hands to hips. Always exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And now you come to the front of your mat. Exhale, sweep the right foot to the left, turn around, face the front of the mat. Okay, so you're always coming back here. There's 4 rounds. Now that we do turning. So we're turning out. Oops, we did. Sorry, I just swept in the first round. We're obviously not sweeping because we're just standing here. So then you come all the way back up. Now we're taking our 4 rounds. Okay, step all the way out, and now you've got triangle. Okay, and revolved. You guys know we did this. Come back, all the way back out, side angle and twist, and then back, prasarita, A, B, C, D. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and back, and then you have pyramid. All right, short turn, and then up. After you've done all of that, after the 4 step outs, the next thing is the balance. So we have the leg. There are 4 variations. 1, 2, 3, 4. In terms of cueing, several people asked about this. So you can just inhale, lift the leg, bind the toe and reach. Or inhale, lift, exhale, bind the big toe, inhale, stretch the leg. You could do it different ways. But once the leg is out, then you exhale to open. Inhale, back and catch. Exhale, fold. You can see how we're using the fold, that methodology of opening and contracting even right here. Then inhale, hands over, leg, lift the leg and back. Last thing on both sides, Ardha Baddha, the half bound lotus. Inhale, lift the leg, catch the hands, plant it, exhale, plant. Inhale, wrap and lift, exhale, fold if you choose. All right? Very last thing. So now you're going to do a full vinyasa. So now you've done all the balance. They're back to center. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, full vinyasa all the way through. Then when they get to down dog, you don't have to wait 5 breaths again. You do 5 breaths for each pose of the standing series, each side. But at the end of that, they come all the way forward and you go to chair pose. 5 breaths, chair pose. Then take a full vinyasa again. Step the right foot forward. Warrior A, 5 breaths. Straighten the leg, turn to the other side. Warrior A, 5 breaths. Open the arms to a T, straighten, turn back. Vinyasa. All right, so that was a lot at once. But the most important thing I want you guys to remember is that we're doing this a little differently. It's not about you cueing this perfectly. It's not about you being experts. It's about you getting out there and putting yourselves on the table and starting to explore these poses and this feeling for yourself. If all this is new to you, it's going to take time. We're not expecting you to be perfect Ashtanga teachers on Saturday. We're expecting you to be in the groove of developing and learning this stuff and starting to have some capacity with it. Okay? All right, I'll talk to y'all more tomorrow. Bye.